A community center serves the greater St. Bernard Parish in New Orleans. First Lady volunteers on 9/11. On Web Tips, a site for the conservation and enjoyment of the Appalachian Trail. All this and more, so on to our first stop.
Okay, hi, I'm Mike Green. This is Denise Torres. We're married, long time. Our kids are away at college now, so we're trying to do some traveling and meet people, and we're experimenting with the best way of doing that is doing volunteer work. So we're spending 2 weeks down here in New Orleans, and about a week of that we're doing volunteer work. And we've met a lot of incredible people.
Well, we're here today in the community center in St. Bernard Parish, and this is one of the most hardest hit areas after Katrina.
Much more than any other vacation, just getting to see the culture, go places you never would have gone in the city, and meet people you never would have met. It's really the greatest travel experience we've ever had.
And the way I see it is a week is a week. That's, you know, you create a lot of little ripple effects in a week. You create a lot of little ways that you're helping and big ways that you're helping, whether it's that you've given a small child a little book that makes them smile and makes their day better, or you've cleaned a lot of animal cages, which we have, or whatever it is. There's an amazing ripple effect that you know is healing for the community, and that's really why we're here.
The anniversary of 9/11 was marked by a day of service by and for veterans. Over 150 volunteers, including students from George Washington University, joined Iraq and Afghanistan war veterans to renovate and spruce up the Vincent Hall retirement community. The residents of Vincent Hall, almost all of them veterans, also pitched in to help and were joined by First Lady Michelle Obama, who picked up a paintbrush and worked with the crew.
My name's Tony Woods. I am the Coalition Director for Service Nation. I'm also a two-time Iraq War veteran, a veteran of the Army. Today's September 11th, which thanks to the Edward M. Kennedy Serve America Act is now a day of service and remembrance, and so it's an opportunity for Americans to turn a tragic event into something meaningful and powerful where we give back to our communities. And so today, as a part of the Mission Serve initiative, which brings the worlds of civilian and military service together, we've got veterans, civilians serving alongside one another. We're working hard right now to renovate a retired veterans home here in McLean, Virginia at the Vincent Center.
I'm Eric Greitens. I'm the CEO of The Mission Continues, and we're here today with the First Lady at Vincent Hall in Virginia. The First Lady has joined The Mission Continues on one of our service projects. It's taking place on September 11th. Today, The Mission Continues is doing 50 service projects around the country where we've brought out veterans of all eras and civilians of all backgrounds to serve together on September 11th. Part of our mission is to make sure that every veteran who comes home has the opportunity and the resources available to them to continue their service to our country by serving with nonprofits and charitable organizations and community organizations here at home, where they are able to continue their mission of public service. We've involved volunteers in over 50,000 hours of service, and this day, September 11th, is marking the beginning of a 2-month campaign where we're going to continue to serve all the way through Veterans Day of this year. It's great for everyone to come out, and I encourage everyone to go out to missioncontinues.org.
Hi, my name is Charles Simon. I'm here with The Mission Continues. The goal of The Mission Continues is there are a lot of returning veterans, and we all want to serve our country and continue to serve after our military service is up. We have a number of people who are fellows that we sponsor throughout a year to help them set up community service, helping out young people, anything in their community to just help out.
Pearl Harbor survivor, Midway survivor.
Kayne is a writer, adventurer, and educator. She has written several books on volunteering, including the latest, Volunteer Vacations Across America. The book includes over 200 affordable trips throughout the United States, from free opportunities to internships, stipends, and volunteerism packages. Having traveled to almost every state, this guide chronicles a long list of volunteer activities. Hi, this is Kevin Mayberry of Travel Television. I'd like to welcome back Sheryl Kayne to the show, author of Volunteer Vacations Across America and her other book,
Immersion Travel USA.
USA.
Absolutely.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
So today we're going to talk about volunteer groups and your advocacy of wildlife in America.
Absolutely. I think very few people realize how many trips are available right here in the United States where you can work with wildlife. Have you ever seen a puffin?
No.
A puffin.
I think I've heard of it.
Well, they're gorgeous, gorgeous little birds that are black and orange, and when they swim, they kind of look like they're waving at you. They're very cool. And when I first saw them in Alaska, in the Kenai National Park, I thought they were native to Alaska. And then I found out that they are native to the Gulf of Maine.
That's interesting.
Are little islands off of Maine, and they were there, and they were totally wiped out. They were killed out and hadn't been there for many years. And now there's a project called the Puffin Project where they reinstated the puffin, actually from a set that they brought in from Canada. Worked with the Canadian government to do this. And now you can go volunteer there during the summer. They need people for 1-week commitments, and it helps them to contribute to the scientific research for the puffin, because it takes a lot of work to reinstate, to reinstate the animal into its natural habitat. So they use a lot of people. It's very rustic, so it's not for everyone, but it's a great trip. What a great opportunity to contribute directly to scientific research.
Well, how are people going to be able to know where to go to find these types of opportunities?
Well, that's what my books are all about, actually. And there is a chapter on volunteering with wildlife in Volunteer Vacations Across America. And there's also a caring chapter, which is advocacy for animals, in Immersion Travel USA. And on my website, immersiontraveler.com, there's also information. And I wrote these listings specifically with volunteers in mind so that you know exactly who to contact, when, if things are seasonal, when to plan ahead, because some things you do have to reserve.
Right.
I mean, can you just imagine going and volunteering with Asian and African elephants?
Wow.
Here in Tennessee?
That's very interesting.
Isn't that terrific?
Yeah.
Well, where do old, tired elephants go? Luckily, there's
Tennessee.
the Elephant Sanctuary in Hohenwald, Tennessee. And I interviewed Juanita, who lives up in Michigan, and she was watching a program on TV about elephants. And her heart went out when she saw that this elephant was being transferred from a zoo to Hohenwald. And she loves elephants, so she immediately signed up to volunteer. And she goes once a year.
Wow.
So it's really very exciting. Did you know that you can work with gibbon monkeys in New Mexico?
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
Well, I interviewed a volunteer who worked with them, and she was so moved that she helped with the babies, and she learned how to feed them.
How big are those babies?
Oh my gosh, the pictures in here are gorgeous. I mean, they're like this, they're just absolutely stunning.
Oh, wow.
And it's dedicated not only to the protection and caring of the animals, but also the history, and you learn quite a bit.
If you were to recommend, like, somebody who's very much into wildlife, doesn't know where to start, they'll go to your website, they'll read your book, what would you recommend for somebody who's kind of just starting out, not sure what to do, but loves animals?
Start with your passion. Just start with your passion. I mean, if you're not sure where you want to start, you could start with cats and dogs and pot-bellied pigs, at Best Friends, which is out in Moab, Utah, which is a terrific complement to a trip if you are visiting the Circle of National Parks out in that area. And there you can go for an hour in the morning or an hour in the afternoon, or plan a longer trip, or always go from your passion. Go from what you really love. I know I love turtles. I mean, I just absolutely love turtles. And in North Carolina, at the Beardsley Turtle Center, I mean, you can work with turtles. Just gorgeous. So many of these turtles have unfortunately been injured in boating accidents. But you can also learn how to surf. because there's a surfing camp right
Wow.
there too. So you can combine those two. Another very incredible trip right here in the United States, in Pennsylvania, is at Hawk Mountain.
Hawk Mountain.
Hawk Mountain.
Where's?
And during August to October, that is when more than 18,000 hawks travel through this area.
Wow.
And they need loads and loads and loads of volunteers to help document who's coming and when.
Interesting.
So
That's
there's so
very
many
interesting.
different things for you to do right here in the USA.
Changing the World on Vacation is a program that tracks a grassroots organization through a full year as they embark on a project to change the lives of over 500 children in a rural Cambodian village. The program chronicles the startup of an NGO blending adventure travel and aid work to build and manage a school that opened in 2005. Since then, over 100 volunteers from 14 countries traveled to volunteer for a week to work with students and to develop the institution. The dedicated lender, Daniela Papi, has produced this program, and Travel Television is presenting the program promo for our audience.
Do you want to do something about changing the world, and you can make a difference? That's the underline, that you can actually go and do something.
Guerrilla aid. There's more to it than just dropping in with your tourists 3 times a year.
Coming in from outside and doing stuff and then leaving, what we need to be doing is building the capacity of the country and the people to be able to do it themselves. So it's very complicated, it really is. I find that very complex.
The Appalachian Trail Conservancy, or ATC, is a volunteer-based organization dedicated to preserving and managing the natural, scenic, historic, and cultural resources associated with the Appalachian National Scenic Trail, so that primitive outdoor recreation and educational opportunities can be sustained for trail visitors. A visit to their website, appalachiantrail.org, explains that ATC works closely with numerous federal, state, and local agencies, and with 30 member clubs. They're volunteers in the cooperative management of the trail with a main office and official trail visitor center in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. Volunteers are needed to become a part of the effort to protect it from new threats that arise every day. These are threats to the hiking experience and the fragile web of life found on the Appalachian Trail. Visit the site to find out how you can train to become a volunteer trail crew member, wildlife advocate, rare and exotic flora protector, and a member of a team that preserves this beautiful trail for generations to come. The site features all the volunteer opportunities, volunteer blogs, and a Volunteer of the Month. Could that be you? Find out on their website.
Child Family Health International is a leading nonprofit working with health science students. CFHI develops global health education programs that stress community involvement and local integrity. Currently, there are over 20 sites in 5 countries, and CFHI has placed over 5,000 students through partnerships with universities in the United States. Traveltelevision recently spoke to the executive director.
Child Family Health International was started in 1992 by Evelyn Jones, who was a medical student at Stanford. She was looking for ways to go abroad and expand her knowledge, and there weren't really very many ways to do that. She ended up getting some people to support her. She went to Ecuador. She found a local physician who helped her, became a mentor to her. She had a very powerful experience. She returned to Stanford, and her fellow students were very interested, and she began making arrangements for them to go, and then it grew into this organization. Now we're not only in Ecuador, but also in Mexico, Bolivia, South Africa, and India. We have over 20 programs spanning all different kinds of health-related things, public health, pediatrics, rural programs, urban programs, tropical medicine, all different kinds of programs. We're a small organization. We really do look for local healthcare professionals in each country who are dedicated to their own underserved communities, and we try to really support them in their work. So often when volunteers from the U.S. or other places go to developing countries, they're often seen in the developing countries as experts coming to help. In our situation, we're really finding the local experts, and we're bringing international students to learn from local experts. So it's a real way that empowers the local community also. Students living with families, so they get immersed into the culture. In Latin American countries, we have 30 hours of Spanish and medical Spanish, so they're immersed into the language. And then in each place, there's a medical director who's a local physician who finds other physicians, nurses, nurse practitioners who will act as preceptors or mentors to the students. And the students are matched up with that health professional for their entire patient day, Monday through Friday. So they have the weekends to do their own travel, that kind of thing. And so it's really very much this kind of immersion experience. So the programs last about 4 weeks or longer. Sometimes we do a shorter program, but to really get that immersion experience, we recommend at least 4 weeks. We have a lot of students going for 8, 10, or 12 weeks or longer even. So most of them are getting some kind of credit from the school that they're participating in. And we do work with those schools to do affiliation agreements or whatever to help them get credit that they could get.
So that's how they can stay there for 2 or 3 months during the
the
school
and
year.
Actually we have partnerships with some universities and schools, medical schools, to do longer programs.
Steve, I want to thank you for coming in. And again,
welcome.
let's tell the audience that website.
Sure,
again,
the website is www.cfhi.org.
Right, and this is the executive director of Child Family Health International. Thanks for coming in.
Okay, thanks.
We love New Orleans for the food, and we come here to eat some of that great Cajun Creole food that New Orleans itself is known for. But you know what? Instead of just coming to eat the food in the restaurant, you can actually come to the New Orleans School of Cooking, and you can take a crash course in Cajun Creole cooking. We're going to do just that as we sneak in to this cooking demonstration. All right, so we saw downstairs that there is a big cooking class, but there's a bigger guy here named Kevin Belton. Kevin, hold on a second, man, because you're the human taxidermist. What does that mean? That's your title.
Think about it. I stuff people for a living.
All right, that makes a lot of sense.
I don't know if they put you up here with me because you were a difficult learner
I'm a little slow.
That's why you couldn't stay downstairs. So
One-on-one, man.
One-on-one. But this is going to be really, really neat and easy. Because
Let's go.
the most important thing about Louisiana food is the visiting that takes place.
Yeah.
It's not so much what we're cooking, but it's the visiting.
All right.
So while we visit,
process.
the
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
So while we visit, I figured to whip up a little barbecue shrimp.
Let's do it.
So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with a little local beer.
Yep.
We're going to get a little seasoning, Worcestershire, garlic, lemon juice, some green onions, get our shrimp in,
Beautiful.
and we'll cream it out with a little butter.
The butter, man.
That sounds like a plan?
That sounds good. Let's go. The best thing about cooking some food up here is the fact that we get to eat it.
Louisiana food is usually not pretty food.
Right.
So it's
You wanna make a
finish
mess?
yourself.
Oh,
a little bit
hold
of
on.
green onion.
Getting too eager, huh?
No, you're fine, you're fine.
Throwing some color in
And
there. All right.
now the reason why we eat it with the shell, because the shell has so much flavor.
All right.
So we pop the head off,
Yeah, that's what I'm doing
pull
right
the
now.
shell apart,
And do one of these guys.
do one of those guys. That's why I have a stack of napkins.
Yeah, kind of messy, right?
But
But
you
we
know
don't
what?
mind. That's what it's about, right?
That's what it's about. Louisiana, when we sit to eat, it's okay to pick it up with your hands. It's okay to lick your fingers. Lick
Right.
your neighbor's fingers if you have to. You can sit there.
Is that a warning? Is that a warning?
This is no. But this is how we eat. You know, it's. I sat at the table as a kid growing up with mother and grandmother,
Everybody.
the parents and everyone, and that's where family values were passed. We're sitting there, listening, eating, and it wasn't like, oh, be careful of this, be careful of that.
Just get
See,
in.
look at the bread. Take the bread, work that with your fingers,
Man.
and dip in there.
That is just
and
awesome.
you notice, I'm not working on the shrimp. I just like the sauce.
Awesome. Unbelievable. Kevin, thanks so much, man. Great demonstration. Check out the New Orleans School of Cooking. And you know what? Bring them some recipes of your own.
Thanks for coming to New Orleans.
Glad to.
There's not much boom left to this boom box, with music sounding as though it were being forced through a tin can. But the real song here is being played in this hallway. It's the song of people from all across the country who've come to this city to enjoy its good times and help it recover from its bad times.
We have just been absolutely welcomed with open arms and open hearts, and you can't help but just absorb that and take it home.
There's an interesting phenomenon that's popped up in New Orleans post-storm. It's when folks will come in from around the country to try and help rebuild the city during the day. Then at night they will enjoy all the fun that New Orleans has to offer. It's part volunteering, it's part tourism. They call it voluntourism. This is the music that means New Orleans will be back better than ever. What's happening here shows the true power of people. They take the good times from the city every night, and every day they repay for those good times with hard work and a little elbow grease. This organization is Hands on New Orleans, and their name is fitting. Their hands are all over this old school, bringing it back to life. With each brushstroke, there's a story, all of them interesting. This woman created her own charitable organization to help New Orleans.
It's the relationships that you're building, and you come back and you keep those relationships thriving.
Emily Pelton is celebrating her 40th birthday by painting the greenest wall imaginable.
I know what's been going on down here. I've been down a few times. I wanted some other people to see what's been going on in the city, and I know that there were volunteer opportunities, so I sent out an email and got 6 people with me, and we've been having a great time.
Once you spend a day painting, there's a good chance you'll need to find a place to unwind Big Easy style. Between St. Patrick's Cathedral and St. Charles Avenue stands a true New Orleans gem with wrought iron history. When the super modern Lafayette Hotel opened back during the First World War, it changed the character of the neighborhood from a sleepy row of boarding houses into a hum of activity, and it's wide awake today. Right outside the front lobby entrance, the hotel staff even calls the neighborhood pigeons friends. So it's the weekend, and nothing sounds better than a trip to the park. There are so many things to do. Walk to the museums, enjoy nature, feel like a kid again while swinging on the swing set. Or how about a stroll behind a mower?
This, after the storm, was utterly devastated. City Park had about $43 million worth of damage. Multiple trees were down.
What would you call someone who, every Saturday morning after a long week at work, heads to the park and starts cleaning it up?
City Park morons, weeding by example.
This is a moron, and she couldn't be more happy about it. In fact, New Orleans City Park finds itself overrun by morons. You can't miss them. They label themselves that because...
We started cutting the grass, and we were having some drinks afterwards at a little neighborhood bar, and we were laughing about how silly it is that, you know, the kind of monumental task that we're trying to undertake with push lawnmowers. And we said, you know, we're kind of like idiots. We're kind of morons. And, you know, Ian said, morons, that's us. And his wife came up with the weeding by example, and it stuck.
They may be morons, that's M-O-W-R-O-N-S, on the outside, but the desire to do something for their city comes from deep down.
We like to show people we have a sense of humor, and, you know, we want to have a good time while we're trying to make our city put it back to what it was before the storm.
Christine Kubilia and the gang of mowers come here each and every Saturday. They've been volunteering their time here for over a year.
This is such a treasure for the city of New Orleans. It's such a great thing to have, and we wanted to make a difference some kind of way.
Slowly, it's been this group who has helped restore the grand entrance to the park and much of its 1,300 acres.
My friends tease me because I'm always out here cutting the grass, and they want to go do fun stuff too, but it's a really good release.